this country starts early. It works hard. It stays focused. It keeps moving. It stands ready. And it carries the weight. Strong coffee for a strong nation.
Welcome everybody back to Beyond the Possible, number 16, with James right on time.
Literally just got in the door like less than 2 minutes, 3 minutes ago.
Nice, right on time, James. I said, well, it's winging it time now.
Yeah. No,
Nice,
glad to be
nice.
here.
We got Bad Nurse and Bigfoot Truth, Duffy in the chat already on the YouTube. We are streaming on Rumble. Let me double check, make sure we're doing what we're supposed to do. What do we got here? Here we go. It is working. It is working.
Good.
So, doing it a different way, doing the way I did it at the last. So, yeah, we're trying different ways and making it. We're gonna make it adjust and float through here and make it work for sure.
Right.
But how are you doing today, James?
I'm okay. Just got back from a family gathering, and so that was good. And yeah, just glad to be here. I didn't get to do any looking into things like I wanted to for this show, but it wouldn't be the first time we one or both of us just figured things out as we went, so it'll be fine.
That's it. We're gonna swing. We're gonna shadow. Um, yeah, we're just gonna swing and see what happens for sure. But it should be
Yep.
it should be fun. We got, like I said, working on all the platforms today, so that's positive. So we should be
It
good
is.
there. I just got another guest coming soon. Got a triple check on the date, but I think in a couple of weeks. Actually, you got two guests. So, actually, two guests. We had supposed to. But just I like to double check and verify before we post out there. But yeah, next Sunday we should have a guest.
Yep, sounds good. Guests are always good. So I also it's hilarious because I get in the door here and of course my cat Logan is like, "What the heck, human? You leave for a day, almost a day and a half, and you come back and you feed me, but then you just get on your computer right away." So I'm being yelled at, but it's okay. So, uh-oh, my screen changed, so I don't know what just happened. Looks like Ricky dropped, but so anyway, looking at the chat here, yeah, it looks like it's just me. Well, in case I'm still online, uh, glad to hear everyone's in the chat, and I don't have too much to report as far as recent events for me. Uh, so just keeping busy and uh, looking at starting a project here locally in my own town, and I'll have more updates on that when I
All
get
right.
further along with it. There you go.
It said I didn't have internet, but it showed I had internet. Like it couldn't connect, but as soon as I pulled back at the studio, it was showing it fine. So, all right, we got to have our technical troubles no matter what
Oh
to
yeah.
make sure we have a good show. But yeah, I do have some Let's see. We do boo. Oh me, oh my. Let's put this tab over here. Oh, there we go. I do have a few stories on our subject, and oh, where we got? I got one more. Let's see. There we go. Put this tab over here, and a couple stories and stuff, and then just discuss, I guess, and we'll see how it goes. And we'll, like I said, we're gonna wing it. It was kind of. Did you get to watch that video at least, James, with
I
the
did.
Wi-Fi's? So
Yes.
tonight's show it is completely because the Wi-Fi's did a show um, on this subject. Just came out the other day, and I was like, I've never heard of that before, or just the title of it. And then started
Exactly.
looking at it, and I'm like, well, there's like four different ways it could be, and so one of them I've kind of heard, but a couple of them is like, whoa, it's out there. Like I hadn't heard that. What's up, Sweets? Sweets is in the chat. She is back.
Hello, sweets.
So
Yeah. The phrase. I'll just go ahead and introduce the title or the phrase right now
hmm
of that right now. Just the idea of a shared death experience. No, I had never heard that phrase before, and this is part of why. Excuse me. I love looking into all these things because notice what I just said there. For all those people out there that claim I'm an expert, again, I have never heard of that phrase before. And I'm joking, but also not joking. But it's it's amazing because, and it took me a minute. I had to do a little quick search online yesterday before I had to head out, and I realized I had heard of the phenomenon, or at least one version of it. I just had not heard of the name of it.
hmm
Um, and so what I had heard of was cases of people suddenly feeling pain or sensations of pain, or that almost like it was their pain, but it wasn't them. In other words, they didn't have permanent physical injuries after, but they just experienced either the sensation of pain or just the sense that someone else that they're close to was in serious pain. And then, of course, they find out that this other person, who could be hundreds, thousands of miles away, wherever they may be, was going through a situation where they either almost died or they did die. They did pass away. Um, and that's the version of this I had heard of before. But I hadn't heard of sort of the other versions, and I don't know if you have them handy at all, Ricky, but we can go over those too as we go. But so yeah, I hadn't heard of all the different versions of this, but I do want to
hmm
say someone to look into in the future. I think maybe for a whole show, just on like a profile of people who have been looking into all these things. Raymond Moody. I've heard his name before, and I've heard it more associated with the near-death experience. But I know he's put out several books on all kinds of topics, and so I think that might be a fun show at some point, to do just a show on him in general as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Now I do have a um, I do have a it looks like Raymond Moody's still alive too. Um, I Google searched his name real quick, so I have it over to the side where I can do
Okay.
some backtracking and looking. Yeah, I like I said, I've ex- I feel I experienced one of them,
Mm.
but these other, like they said, there's four common ones, and yeah, that's this is wild to hear, and just I can't imagine somebody the impact it has done somebody. So here's the four, and we'll talk about some more. Remotely sensing a death, feeling or knowing about the death from a distance. Sometimes called flyby experiences. Often with a sense of farewell or presence. I know my mom was talking about like when
Hmm.
she came on was talking about she had done that. She had felt that before with people, and I know I have too. Um, so that one, I didn't know it was grouped into this nice group. Um, Also, witnessing unusual phenomena, seeing lights, mist, transparent forms leaving the body, or a dying person appearing vibrant. Also, accompanying the dying, feeling pulled along on the journey, entering a heavenly realm, tunnel, or light with them, then returning. Um, which is, I I know on the Y Files he did a story, and then the other I've heard looking into this was like somebody actually doing that and going up, so like you're it's like you're holding somebody's hand all the way to the heavens door, and then you let go, like here you go, and then turn back around and come on
Right.
back down. It's I can't imagine somebody's what that does for somebody, or be interested in talking to. I would like to talk to somebody who's had that happen, just because I just pure curiosity, like what kind of mental um, load does that put on kind of thing. And
Yeah.
on the fourth one, it's assisting or guiding the dying, helping the person transition, sometimes hand them over to deceived relatives or beings. Um, so it's having like the stories we hear, like somebody's mother or something like that was right there beside them or something, waiting on that time. Um, or
Right.
family in the room. I know I've heard stories of that. Like I said, I just and people seeing those spirits in the room. Like I said, I just never heard of the, like I'm with you, James. I just never heard of the shared death experience name. Putting some of this in the book, putting these together, but um, it is interesting, for sure. It's just the thought of it, and how somebody could actually, it must be amazing. Somebody's able to help somebody, cross over to that point, especially one if you're, you know, basically taking them to the light and like, here you go, and then come. But again, it's like how powerful that experience that must have been for somebody to do that kind of thing.
Oh yeah. And I think I just realized I may have heard of again those last couple maybe here and there more than I realized. It's just I never heard of a name or of any kind of grouping system. And I do wonder, I imagine there's probably um, experiences that fall within like on the edges of these four groups, and
Oh,
are kind
absolutely.
of like just parts of one, parts of another, and
Hmm.
because it seems to be that's the way all this goes. Is there's never really a clear cut system of how things work, and everything in its own little container of how an experience goes. There always seem to be similarities in experiences, but also just differences always. At least once you start getting into large numbers of them.
Oh, absolutely. Um, Absolutely. It's kind of wild. That's interesting. This article right here brought up Raymond Moody. It's a CNN article. When did it come out? What was the date? It don't say. Where's the date?
Hmm.
It does not have a date on it. It's just magical article right here. Don't even have a date on it. But it says Beyond Goodbye, and there's several stories on it. One of the ones I caught, and so let me read this story real quick, if words can come out of my mouth without me blundering it.
Well,
But
words are hard, so you'll be fine either way, whatever happens.
yeah, absolutely. Here we go. It says William Peters was working as a volunteer in a hospice when he had a strange encounter with a dying man that changed his life. The man's name was Ron, and he was a former merchant marine who was afflicted with stomach cancer. Peters said he would spend up to 3 hours a day on Ron's bedside, talking to him and reading adventure stories to him because few families or friends visited. When Peters plopped by Ron's bedside around lunch one day, the frail man was semi conscious. Peters read passages from the Jack London's Call of the Wild as the frail man struggled to hang on. What happened next, Peters says, was, inexplicable. Peters says he felt a force jerk his spirit upward, out of his body. He floated above Ron's bedside, looking down at the dying man. Then he glanced next to him, discovered Ron floating beside him, looking at the same scene below. He looked at me and gave me this happy, contented look as if he was telling me, "Check this out, here we are," Peter said. Peter said he then felt his spirit drop into the body again, experience over in a flash. Ron died soon afterward, but Peter's questions about that day lingered. He didn't know what to call the moment, but eventually he learned that it wasn't unique. Peter's had a shared death experience. It says
Yeah,
Raymond Moody actually coined the concept of shared death experiences after spending over 20 years collecting stories.
right. And that is, if you notice there, that's also an out of body experience
Mm-hmm.
for, excuse me, for not the patient. Well, I mean the patient too, but for I forget his name. Peter now. Is it Peter?
Yeah, William Peters. Yeah.
Peters. There we go. William Peters. That was an out of body experience for him.
Mm-hmm.
So and but where he stayed, and I mean, I guess if you think about it, all these experiences, these near death or shared death experiences, or at least many of them, seem like they do involve some kind of a, at least in some cases, again, they involve some kind of out of body experience. Not just for the person that's passing who is going out of their body for good, but for other people that are around them, like in this case. So that is
Mm-hmm.
fascinating. I have heard of people, both medical professionals and also just people, um, family and friends in hospital rooms in rare cases, when someone passes, seeing the things that were described, mists or lights leaving the person's body. Uh, so I have heard of that. And again, though, I hadn't thought of that as a sort of a shared death experience, but they are there while that person is sort of is passing from one existence to another. So I guess it would be. Again, it's amazing how there's these names for things, but they're not extremely well known, at least as far as I can tell. Because like I said, I've been looking into these things here, and for some years now, through podcasts and mostly podcasts and things like that, some audiobooks, and I had never ever heard that term anywhere.
Yeah, I was surprised. I'm with you because I've engulfed so much information over the years and just I don't know. It's interesting not knowing that term whatsoever after all these years of looking into strange things myself and different things. What's up, Carl? What's up, Victorian Cryptid Research? We got the Bigfoot researchers on YouTube over here.
Okay.
We got them all. We got Mr. Duffy. And we got them all, but we got Mr. Duffy. We got Victorian Cryptid. Appreciate y'all being here, and of course the lurkers. We got a few of them floating around, so we appreciate y'all as always. Um, yeah, it's just an interesting concept, and I'm glad I seen it. What's up, Blake and Monkey? Appreciate y'all being here. It's just amazing. I'm just glad I seen it late at night. I'm like, hey, look at that. It just popped up and started playing, and huh, I never heard that. I jumped up and come over, started doing research in the middle of the damn night. I wonder why my sleep schedule kind of being all kinds of sideways. I don't know why. I don't understand it.
This is why I only listen to like Ancient Aliens or whatever, like kind of basic stuff or like older stuff, just because I don't need that to happen. I,
Yeah.
I, I can't take a chance of. it's hard enough to fall asleep as it is. I can't take a chance of something catching my attention and having making me do exactly what you did. I can't do that, especially since I'm already my bed is in my living room, as I've discussed before on other shows. So like it's not far to go to get from the bed to the PC.
No, absolutely. I do understand. Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes it's nice. Sometimes it's you know, like damn it. But usually I can. I think that night I had my phone on the charger, which is on my desk, and so it threw me off because a lot of times if I'm good if I have my phone beside me while I'm laying down, then I'll just do a search real quick and leave it so I can come back later and see what the hell I searched. But I didn't have that, so I was like, I gotta get up. I gotta get up. But yeah, that story right there is pretty amazing. Like this one here. A woman later identified in accounts as a therapist named Cap was thousands of miles away from her mother. She suddenly felt intense physical sensations matching her mother's death throes, gasping and struggling while on the phone. She learned moments later that her mother had just died at the exact time. Initially, as an agnostic who resisted the idea, the event shifted her beliefs dramatically about shared transitions. I imagine so. Maybe if you're kind of on the fence, so there's something there or not there, and something like that happened. I imagine it would make you start asking questions and stuff. Looking, what's up, Charlie Rose? Appreciate you
Yeah,
being here. Yeah.
especially if you've never had another experience similar.
Hmm.
Uh, this is why I don't ever, um, whenever anyone I hear about an experience that someone has where they're afraid and they've never had one before, I understand. My first few experiences, I was afraid too. So I understand the fear, the confusion, and all those things. So yeah, when something happens, you have no framework for it at all. It's logical to be frightened of it, and or at least to be confused, which then, as you're trying to analyze it, can lead to fear. I've heard of that as well too. So yeah, if you've never had an experience with anything anomalous and then you have one, especially like that, that's not just um, a light that you saw that could have been a reflection from something, or a shadow that could have been reflected, or weird noise that could have been made by any of your electronics for whatever reason, or the door. There's a lot of things that can be possibly explained away or written off, even if they are anomalous. But when you have that situation where you're feeling what your mother is feeling as she's passing away, there's not much mistaking that.
Hmm. No, not absolutely. There's, and she's having, I guess, possibly mother was having a heart attack or something like that, and then all of a
Right.
sudden and you're grasping your chest like you're having a heart attack, and then boom, you find out, just that connection. That's powerful to know that you can be connected with that people that tight and everything. It's kind of like I've told the story before about my friend Connie. You know I guess when the moment she uh, around the time she was committing suicide, I had that deep feeling. I said, man, I need to check on her, and I reached out. And I sent her a message on Messenger, and of course, she didn't reply. Then I didn't hear nothing for months, and I was like, man, huh. But life gets busy, and it just it's like, hey, stuff happens. And then I have to see something on Facebook saying, about somebody, well, I'm missing you, I'm missing them. Like, what in the hell is going on here? It's like these people acting like she's gone, and then I found out she was, and then I talked to her best friend, and I was like, and because I messaged on there, I said, man, what the hell, what's going on? I didn't, and she messaged me and told me what time and what day it was and everything. And I looked back on the message, and it was the same time that I messaged her. Was the time that she had passed. So it was kind of profound and like, man.
Yeah, yeah. No, I can't imagine. I I don't think I've ever had anything like that. The closest thing I've had to that is this. I mentioned this before. There was this one night where I had this feeling like there was things that were wrong in multiple places. Nothing to do directly with me, but just a sense of something's not right somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
And I found out afterwards, yeah, there was like two or three things that happened that same night. One of which was one of a friend's cat, one of their cats passed away that night, and it was a cat that would show up on their video gaming stream sometimes. So like I've seen the cat, you know, and yeah, it was the same time frame.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yep. So I don't know. And there was a couple other things, and one of them, it's I never did get a chance to find out any details, but it makes me wonder because one of the things that was happening was happened around that time, and I only recently figured this out is the passing of a friend as well. So
Yeah.
it is odd.
Mm-hmm. For sure. For sure. Like this story here. Um, a man named Mark had a telepathic SDE. They were the Wi-Fi. He was that damn
Yeah,
fish. What'd you say? Um, had a telepathic SDE, shared death experience with his hospitalized father. Initially told his father everything will be okay. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Intuitive. Let me get the correct word there. Told his father everything will be okay and visualized walking him up a staircase toward a brilliant light. At the top, they were greeted by Mark's grandmother and surrounded by luminosity. The father hugged his mother with visible joy and told Mark, I didn't know it would be this easy. Before Mark returned, of course, then after that, he was able to give his family a big, uh, comforting knowing his father had crossed over and with his mother. But another one that's just, must be pretty powerful.
yeah, yeah. Even if it was just for him, because not everyone always reacts the same way when they hear about these experiences, and so, but at least for him anyway. And maybe hopefully for others too. But but that is the rough part of this is that when people hear about these experiences, they don't want to believe it's possible, and that can lead to some tough times between tough relationships between family members.
Yeah, Blake said, and he's not sure about this one, but his best friend passed on his way to our house on his bike, and that day I didn't notice my feelings, but I did notice that one of my eyebrows was twitching really bad. And,
Mm,
um, yeah, um,
could be.
and it could be. I mean, uh, you know, having having connections with people, it don't, it's the beautiful thing is it don't, it blurs all lines, of race or sex or whatever, it that part don't matter. It just, if you have a connection with somebody, you got a connection with somebody, and but having that powerful one.
And it could have been. I mean, it could have. It's hard to know, but we all our bodies and our minds react to different things in different ways.
Mm-hmm.
So it could be that that eye twitch was your 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 physical body reacting to information it was getting somehow in a certain
Mm-hmm.
way. Um, who knows why that works that way? But again, not all of these encounters that people have are as extreme like with the heart attack one, this one that seemed like it was a heart attack, they don't all come in that form. Sometimes people just get this feeling where they know that someone has passed.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there was one story, one of the true stories I found online that I shared in one of my shows recently. Yeah, fairly recently, where this person was with their mom and their grandma was in the hospital, and this person got this voice in their head telling them, and it wasn't their grandma's voice; it was a male voice at first, telling them that they should go to the hospital where their grandmother was at. And on the way there, they were literally on the road, almost there. The grandmother's voice came into this person's mind and basically said, don't worry about it. Everything's going to be fine. I love you and your mom, and everything's okay. And then went away. And of course, they got to the hospital and they found out that the grandmother had passed right around the time when her voice had come to this person. And so again, there's no physical outward major sign there. It was all telepathic. And I wonder what that case was. Was that male voice that they heard another relative? And I mean, I have no way to know this for sure, whether it
Mm-hmm.
was or not, but could it have been a relative of the grandmas or the moms that the person themselves did not know? And so to them, it was just a male voice. And maybe it came to them because they were sensitive enough to pick up on this, because the mom did not hear either of these voices. So sensitivity maybe is always a factor, but I don't think it determines everything. But it's always a variable in all this.
Got to see. All right. Wonder what happened there. I just seen we were off on Rumble there. Sorry about that on Rumble.
Oh
Um,
boy.
we were on Rumble, but we were live, but it wasn't showing anything. So I
Hmm.
don't know what happened there, but I apologize. And yay, Rumble. I'm glad I went and looked at it. So man, I need to go look at it and make sure everything's going right. Um, I do have a gift of knowing when to look at stuff sometimes. Yeah, Blake, I remember when all that happened, and I remember you were really you could deep down that something had happened.
Mm,
I remember him, thinking when they couldn't find where he was and stuff because he knew he was supposed to be heading to his house, and I won't tell all the details and like that, but I remember him, he knew there was something wrong, and then they found out it was.
right.
What's up, Jason Barker? Appreciate you being here. Hopefully, hopefully, damn thing keeps working. Ah, I love it. I love it.
Live shows always an adventure.
It is. It is. I've always had the internet drop once, and then that, but at least it came right back up. I guess. I don't. I'm not sure why it did that. I don't know. Maybe I bumped it clicking through stuff. I don't know. Oh well. This show goes on.
It does.
And on, my friends. Um, Rumble behaving like he's one too many glasses of wine. I, yeah, sometimes it does. I know Wednesday it sure fought me, and it was all over the place. But trying to do it a different way this time, and was working good, and then I don't know. So I don't know how long y'all were in darkness, but I apologize. It's my fault. And like Mike Strange does when he has all the technical difficulties, hey, it's my fault. It's on me. It is what it is. So,
Well, not only that, like he says as well, he's only one person running everything. So,
oh, absolutely.
and the same with you here. Like I'm not doing anything. I'm not helping in any of that capacity. I'm just a guest here. So Ricky's managing everything that's happening here on his own. So
It
it's
happens.
always amazing.
It happens. It's all good. Appreciate the reposts on the Twitter for everybody who's done that. I imagine we've had some on Rumble. They don't hadn't given me notification that, um, but yeah, this is to get back to get back to our subject. This squirreled there for a moment for us a little bit, couple of minutes. We said okay, not terrible then. Um, doggone it, but it's all right. It
Oh
happens.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, just like some of these stories I got, there's in all kinds. Like one of them was I got several stories on CNN. Got uh, different websites. Know it. Uh, had a post. Life after life. Kinds of different websites and stuff had these these stories and stuff. Like this one here, I can't imagine. Um, One woman who hadn't spoken to her ex-husband in over a decade suddenly felt his strong presence. She heard his voice in her heart, thanking her for the shared years and saying goodbye. She texted her daughter, who confirmed he had died at the precise moment.
yeah, yep. And I've heard similar accounts as well from people who, you know, former former boyfriend or girlfriends, or again ex spouses or whatever, and they find out that it's very similar to what just happened there. They get a thought or a voice or a feeling, or all of those, or an apparition in their mind or in a dream experience, and it's this person saying, thank you for whatever time that they spent together and all that, or just saying hello and all that, and then they find out after that this person did in fact pass away or die. And so I have heard those before. It's funny how, you know, at first when you brought the subject up to me, Ricky, I was thinking, I don't know if I know that many. But it just takes, as usual, it just takes talking about these things to kind of bring things back to memory when it comes to all these things here.
Oh yeah, yeah. Once you start actually digging into it, and you realize, oh, okay, and like we both said, at the beginning, that's putting everything in this box of this moniker, I guess you'd say. Um, that's different. What's up, a Watchman? Appreciate you. Yeah. Hopefully we stay online. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, putting it in this box of being a shared death, and there's so different wild ways it can.
Yeah, I guess I didn't think of the person who didn't die, of their experience as being the experience of dying because they didn't die. I never thought of it that way.
Hmm.
Um, so, and I think, in one way I'm right, but also another way, well, if they had pain, in those cases where they had pain or they had extreme sensations of just thoughts, or a fading or whatever, out of body experience, that is similar to dying in a way. So it's, as usual, two things can be sort of true at the same time. It just depends on how you want to label it or look at it when
Hmm.
it comes to the details.
Absolutely, absolutely. Um, you start looking into these things, and just that there's got to be again, just like like everything else, there's so many now you start digging and start looking, there's so many stories, you hear so many tales of somebody, they're not um connected or into this, or like a lot of the people were not not into the paranormal realm, or they looking into anything like that. They're just having stuff happen to them, and
Right.
um and I guess if you're a real super skeptic, I guess you'd say it'd be a coincidence, but
Yeah, just a dream.
yeah, just a dream. But when the dream was true and it happened at the same time, you get so many coincidences in a row. It's something something got to give kind of thing.
Yeah, I always wonder about that. I mean, how many paranormal experiences are not reported? Not just because people are afraid of ridicule or whatever. I'm sure there's that as well. But they're they're just people have them and maybe have never looked into any of these things. And so they think, well, that must have just been a dream, and it was, I guess,
Hmm.
coincidence. Um, and I wonder how many cases when they have that dream and then find out after that this person passed around the same time, they may not even think anything about that, or they may not even find out until so long later. And if they don't think about coincidences or synchronicities or whatever, it just makes me wonder how much out there happens that we just never hear. People never hear about because it never gets reported at all. Not in a matter of I'm not going to share this because I'm going to get ridiculed, or I'm not going to share this because this can't be real. So, all those people out there that say it is, or this or that, name calling, whatever. Just a matter of just the way people think, not thinking about this stuff as being anything other than our own minds making things up, which is complicated because, yes, our minds do make things up.
Hmm. Oh yeah, I mean, there's no doubt. Imagination is an amazing thing. It's a powerful thing, and it would give you all kinds of stuff. But when you have, it's like a scientist or something like that, and you're doing experiments, and you start seeing stuff happen. This and this happens, so this happens, kind of thing. You got to ask, well, wait a minute, maybe it wasn't a coincidence, maybe it wasn't my imagination. But I agree. I wonder how many, for sure, how many stories. Um, I know for myself, like many of my stories I've told last couple of years, I held on to for some of them for 20 years, without really saying anything to anybody. And I imagine there's a lot of people that do have a lot of tales or stuff that happened that they just, like you said, they're worried about somebody thinking that they're crazy or looking at them like, there's something wrong with Bob over here. He kind of, you know, uh, but we truly need to get, past that kind of thing so we can look into the truth of some of this stuff. Uh, not truly worry about what anybody thinks either. You know, hey, you think I'm crazy? Good. Maybe you'll leave me alone. Won't mess with me. I don't know. Um, kind of
Yeah,
thing. We need to look past that. I think as a people, we need to be able to opening dialogue, and see, just because you don't believe in it or 100% on board. There's a lot of things there's a lot of things that's been on this channel that I'm not 100% on board or completely believe, but that don't mean we shouldn't ask the questions or shouldn't you know dive into it because it's you know anything is possible as it says.
yeah. Excuse me. Yeah, I just as an example of there's this one dream I had years ago, and I still can't decide how I feel about it. If it was just a dream or if it was some kind of a visitation or sign from my great grandma, because it's such a vague dream. Um, but it also had a feeling attached to it, a feeling of, I guess, feelings like a positive, comforting feeling. And it was after my great grandma had passed, and I was in this room, and it was all the walls and floor and everything was all made of wood, and there was this some kind of a I don't know birthday card or just like a card you'd find at a store for marking occasions or whatever. And I don't
Hmm.
remember now what it looked like, but it had writing on it. I remember that. And but I couldn't really. I don't remember being able to read it. Uh, and it was sitting on the floor in front of this staircase. And I was getting the sense from up this staircase, which I could not see the top of. It just kept on going. Of my great grandma being there, and I wanted to go up there, but I also felt like I couldn't, or maybe I shouldn't. And but it was just I just was stuck there for this whole experience. And I remember trying to move forward a little bit, and I was able to move forward towards the card, but no further than that.
Hmm.
And and then of course eventually everything faded away, and I woke up, and I still don't know for sure that that was my great grandma, or was that my mind just thinking of her and sort of making this scene. And in my heart, I feel like it was something anomalous, and it was her. Now, what the symbolism was of the card, and I mean, the stairway to me is just to me, it's fairly obvious of that stairway led to the afterlife, whatever you want to call it,
Hmm.
and she was there, and I was not supposed to go up there, obviously. Um,
Hmm.
I don't know if the gift card was from her, supposed to be sort of a message of comfort from her. Uh, I guess that makes sense in a way, but it was also vague that I still don't know what to make of that for sure either.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, it could have been, for sure a message, letting you know that, she's up there and she's good. You know, she's on their side and, went up to able to cross over to the other side, and in a better place. What it
I
sounds like,
was I was so annoyed that I couldn't go up the stairs because like
I
one
bet.
to meet her again, two
Yeah.
also like what the heck? It's right there. I'm right here. You know why
Yeah,
can't
for
I move
sure.
forward? But I mean, obviously I was not supposed to go there.
Hmm. It happens. If it's not your time, it's not your time. We never know why. Why it's. I don't. Um. I don't know. I've been angry before a few times in my life, and I had to just let it go. Kind of situations. Like you see. Um. You see people living to 95, 90. What William Shatner, what 90 something years old now. Um. And then I look at but Chuck Norris passed away at 84. Or like my grandfather, when he passed away, it was kind of like, um, why do these other people get to live longer and not him? Kind of situations, and just
Yeah,
that's that selfishness, But if it's, I guess at the end of the day, if it's, it's just, hey, he's done his work, it's his time, and he still lived a long life. It's really sad when you see the little ones and stuff pass away, but it still was kind of hurt. Like, what um, what's the the balance size? And it's one of the things like you know it don't matter if if they worked out of their whole life or in amazing shape or whatever. It's just if it's their time. Uh, Not saying against fitness because that's basically what I do, but um, you know why you're able to do fitness and it makes your life easier as you're here for sure. It's one of them things that, but will it give you longer life? Probably, maybe. Who knows? Like Chuck Norris was in amazing shape, 84 years old, just his time.
right.
William Shatner is 97 or where the hell he is. And nowhere near the shape Chuck Norris was. Just not his time yet. It's interesting to see. The reasonings or whatever. Um, it's not our place, I guess.
And that always has been fascinating to me because to me, the whole question of plans or not plans, is there a plan, is there not a plan, all that, that is a fascinating thing to me. I don't really want to get into it because then I'll get angry. Um, but just that concept of what is out there, is there anything in charge or anyone in charge of everything that's running everything? And again, I think, there's everyone has their own um, their ideas and everything, and or belief systems, and that's fine. I'm not, but it's always bugged me. But again, we don't need to get into that right now.
Yeah, yeah. I understand. I do understand. It looks like we're still online everywhere, doing what we're supposed to do. I keep going back and super checking again. I'm like, let me make
Oh
sure
yeah,
here.
I don't blame you.
It's like it's just been. Uh, thought I had a. Well, I mean, it actually. Well, I'm not gonna. I ain't gonna say nothing. I'm just glad I didn't get home. I won't lie until about 6:10, I guess it was. And for I had to be starts for me. It starts at 7. So,
Right.
and I hadn't set up anything. I figured out the title and I had the description and everything ready. But I just had to pop and fill and paste and all that. But I, other than that, I didn't have nothing ready. I didn't have the stream set up. But we're here. We're wonderful.
Yeah. I mean, if anyone has any questions about anything or any of this topic
Absolutely.
or anything paranormal, I mean, put them in the chat because,
Absolutely,
yeah.
yeah. I still got more stories I can tell. We got still got interesting um, couple other points on and everything. And yeah, if you have any question on this, um, let her rip. I see we still got um, several people watching. Everybody just sitting back and listening. So we appreciate y'all. Chat's gotten quiet, but that's all right. It happens. It means
Oh yeah.
everybody's listening.
Well, that seems like a good place to start one of those, share one of those other stories.
Yeah, yeah. That was the one I had it pulled up and I moved stuff around. Let's see where my story go. Oh, here we go. Here's one it's interesting to see. It, they played it on the Life After Life, September 13th, 2021. This article's been out for a while. Um, where'd it go? Oh, here it is. In one detailed family account, a granddaughter witnessed her dying grandmother being greeted by her long deceased grandfather, whom the granddaughter had never met in life. She saw both grandparents smiling and called the grandmother by a private nickname. The grandfather appeared exactly as in a single old photo, despite having died in World War II. So the family described the room feeling transformed with light and love during the moment of passing.
Yeah, it's always fascinating when people, kids or even adults, they have encounters, whether it's again in this situation or others, with people that they don't know, and then come to find out it's a relative from the past that they never met. And there's so many accounts of that. It's really fascinating that that keeps happening over and over again. And again, in these shared death experiences, but also just in encounters, um, either on property that was owned by the family or uh, just all kinds of situations here. But yeah, that is amazing as well.
What's up? Deb said this here. Charlie Rose listening. Monique says she got one. And
Okay.
Carl's dancing in the chat. uh, yeah, it's interesting, especially like see, to hear the ones about like that one there, like grandparents you never met. Um, and I've heard stories similar to that, like even the ones like I don't know, like they didn't know who it was, and then they go digging in like old photo albums, and they're like, oh, that's who I saw right there, and then they figure out, hey, like that's my grandfather or my great uncle or something. It's like you said, someone they had never met. But I've heard stories like that before where they seen something like that and seen someone and they're like, I don't know who that was. And when they start digging, looking into old pictures or something, boom, that's and describe it's exactly how they described them and exactly who it was. Um, it's one of again, it's another one that makes you question or like not say question. It's like it kind of verifies there's got to be something going on here because if somebody's seen somebody that they ain't never seen in their life and never seen a picture of them before, but all of a sudden now they see him, in that situation, at their loved one's, deathbed, and they go back to seeing it. It's I don't know.
Yep. And yeah, it's again, there's so many things I've experienced, and there's so many things I hear about, and like this that I've never really experienced. So that's what's part of what's fascinating about all this is there's so many types of experiences.
James, the question we got is, what do you know about when people get brought back, but when they are different? So, like, if they had a near-death experience and when they come back, they're a changed individual. I've heard stories about it, but what have you heard?
Yeah, it's not something I've looked into a bunch, so I don't know a ton, but I've heard that they they view life differently. They're not as interested in sort of material things, the materialistic point of view of things. Some of them know, like they in their mind they know, and again, this to each their own, but they know there's an afterlife of some kind.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a question to them anymore. It's not a something they wonder about. They know that there's something else out there, and that to me is fascinating because again, one or two people, a handful of people, well, I don't know, but you hear this over and over and over again. And now the tricky part is, I've heard that this can lead to difficulties in relationships with people that they know.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's not always a great time for them after they come back, and they have to make a lot of adjustments and sort of how they live or um, getting along with people or all these different things. Uh, because in some rare cases, the whole near-death experience. It's it's also terrifying as well as powerful and amazing. It's sort of all these things. And so yeah, it's as with most things, it seems to be there's a lot of different ways things can go once you have one of these experiences. Luckily, a lot of people it does seem to they come out uh, basically feeling better about things. But again, that's not universal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've heard stories like there's a lot of stories you hear and you start digging about you know how people go to the light or seen the light, like like the stories we read tonight. But then you also hear where somebody had like a near death experience and then turn around and like didn't see anything, just seen darkness,
Yep.
and it skewed them a different way. It kind of like kind of made them bitter and angry and like, well, if there's nothing there, there's nothing there. You know, I don't have to do this or that or kind of like turn the whole skewed a whole another way because they don't think there's nothing there. Of course, the ones that seen the light and they come back, a lot of them became if they were religious, they really got more religious, or if they weren't religious, they got more religious. And because of the situation. But I know I've heard of people that the other side of things that seen darkness, they kind of got a little bitter or just whatever. You know, there's there's nothing out there for me kind of thing. It was interesting, to hear both sides of it.
Or they become less religious if they were, and they become more how you call it spiritual. More focused on it, just energy and consciousness, and not so much a particular belief system or religion or um, cosmology, whatever you want to call that. And
Hmm.
again, that whole uh, moving away from being interested in the material world, that can be great on one side, the whole spiritual side. But then again, that's not the way a lot of people and a lot of things are. Systems are in this world. So again, that can be. I can imagine that be complicated. I mean, my gosh, just doing what I do, I'm kind of there already. I believe in energy and consciousness and all these things, and but then yet I'm seeing everything that's going on in the world over the years here, many years, and it's frustrating. And but that's for one of the Wednesday shows. So not so much for tonight.
Yeah, we gotta save for stuff for other shows. We gotta keep content. Of course, like I said, we got what I said earlier. We got some more guests coming soon. Should have one next week. Should be an interesting topic next week. Everything scheduling wise, it works out, and then I have another guest in a couple more weeks, maybe the 19th. Like I said, I want to verify everything, but some more paranormal investigators. I'll give that hint. So should be fun to see. I watched some of their content and stuff like that, and it is interesting. They're local to me, so that makes it even more interesting seeing some of the spots. And like they went down to Shiloh and was seeing stuff and hearing stuff, and which I'm interested in to have them on for I can tell my story of Shiloh, some of my stories from there, and of course mine. I wasn't in Shiloh in the dark. They can have that. uh, I'm not trying to do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Ricky's been trying to get me to go places, sending me links about places, and then
we
saying you first.
yeah,
I'm
because
like,
you're the
thanks.
expert, James. You are the expert. I'm not an expert. I'm a jack a leg. Uh, you know, I'm a jack a leg, and I want to have an expert go and investigate the situation. Then I'm like, oh, I know if it's safe or not. So that's all.
Expert as in shield. I see. Uh huh. So yeah, I get it. I
Yeah.
understand.
Monique wants to know, how can you feel the energy and not know God?
That I don't know. Um, I guess it depends on who you ask and who you talk to.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, that's all I can really say on that.
Yeah. I guess it's how people look into it, and
Hmm.
what it is. I guess because some people can, some people can see stuff and attribute to the power of God and the power, and then others won't. They get a whole different mindset. I guess it is in the mindset of what you've known and what you've seen and how you look at what you've seen.
Yeah, definitely. And that needs to be okay that we all see things and look at things and think of things in different ways. I think uh, that should be okay. There, and I'm not aiming this at anybody. I'm just saying in general in the world, especially these days, there needs to be more of that.
You know.
But yeah, it's funny because I'm just thinking about. It's funny because I am thinking about at some point eventually I will have if everything works out well, I will have a local paranormal investigation group. Gonna try to start off as just a research and discussion group, and hopefully once I get some people that I trust and everything, and they're also into these things, we can see about going to some places. Uh, Not all the places. Only places
Be cool,
where
James.
other people have been to that other groups have been to that have had good experiences, that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's cool. But I don't blame you. There's certain places you don't need to um, you don't need to go. Don't need to you don't need to bring anything home with you.
Yeah, yeah. Because if you look into this enough, you'll find cases where that's happened. And no, thank you.
Yeah, I don't. Like I said, I don't blame you. I don't blame you at all. One bit. One bit. Uh, let's see. I'm trying to see if I had. I read that one.
Oh, real quick, I do want to mention I had a show I put out yesterday
Yeah.
um, that I was very excited because it was the guest was someone I've been listening to for years. Um, for those of you that have ever heard of the podcast or the show, Where Did the Road Go with Soraya, I had him on my show on not Saturday, on Monday actually, and I released it Saturday, which was yesterday, and I was really
Nice.
excited about that one because we were trying to get that one together for a long time. So it's about an hour and a half long, and if you're just looking for a good conversation similar to what we have here, I'd recommend checking it out. SalsidoParanormal.com. That's SALSIDO Paranormal.com, and you can find everything there.
For sure, y'all gotta check it out. The link is in the description. It better still be in the description. I'm mad if it ain't. It better be. Let me see what we got. I still haven't. How did I not? I don't know what I'm doing on my email address. So don't look at the email address. The email address in the description is wrong as always. I'm not sure why I can't figure it. But James' link is in the description down there. A bunch of other friends and friends and sponsors of the show. So check that out. If you forget it, if you're listening, you forget what he said, whatever. Like I said, check out the link description. But do not email me from that email right there because it will not go through. Because I took that website down and it is no more. And I
Hmm.
don't know why I keep. I'm not sure what combination of things I'm doing because I know. I don't know. I'll figure it out. I will figure it out one day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that when the local cemeteries with Civil War soldiers are buried with beautiful energy. There's some showing enough energy. Um, I know on Nights of the Storm they had a guy on there talking about I think Gettysburg, wasn't it
Yeah.
James?
Yep.
Yeah, and just the energy and power there. Like I said, I know I've talked about Shiloh and we've done a bunch of stuff, and like I said, I've done a bunch of recording down there. Um, it's some powerful places, just having that much trauma at one time.
Yeah. And cemeteries and graveyards are fascinating because they're not all the same with the feelings that you can get from them.
Mm-hmm.
Some people say they don't feel any energy from them at all. Others say some of them have a positive or a neutral energy. Others say there's negative energy. It's not, again, it seems to just depend on each individual location and the history around it. And because otherwise, why would they be not be all sort of in the similar? Why wouldn't you find sort of the same thing in all of them? But you don't. Uh, Not all cemeteries or graveyards appear to be haunted. Shocking, I know, but you know. So yeah, that's always fascinated me, that whole topic of how or why, and they are and some aren't.
What's up, Jen? The Arcane Observer is in the chat, James.
Oh, my co-host.
Yeah.
Glad to hear that you're here, Jen.
And for
So,
the ones that don't know, James got his blindfold on, I'm sure.
yep.
So I'll read the chat while y'all want. So we're saving his eyes for Troubled Minds at 9 o'clock. So unless something happens, of course, at 9 o'clock we'll be rating Troubled Minds as always on the Rumble side.
Yeah, it'd
So
be good to get back to that show too. I was not really around for much of the last couple. So,
yeah, you had stuff happen, James. It's all right. You know.
oh yeah.
Speaking of that, I need to check the Discord. Speaking of that, do.
But yeah, for those that don't know, Jen is the co-host of Salcedo Paranormal on the weekends, on Saturdays usually. So, and it's funny. I don't. It's what's funny about this is I don't like doing that whole "look at me" thing. But
Look at James.
but next weekend, April 4th, in my Discord server, if you join my Discord server, uh, I will be recording episode 1000 on Saturday night.
That's
Uh,
awesome.
yeah, so
You should pat yourself on the back. That's a lot of work. I promise you, I understand. That's a lot of work because I've recorded a whole bunch of stuff, but I ain't nowhere near that yet. So, um,
well, you keep on recording stuff, including all your shorts and everything. You'll get there soon.
oh yeah, just keep on keeping on, and I don't know where I'm at. Like I'm curious on that.
But yeah, it's going to be an experiences, so true paranormal stories from the web, and also a Discord call-in show. And so yeah, I'm really excited about that next Saturday, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific. So that'd be 9 Central, same time as Trouble Minds, but on Saturday instead.
Nice.
So
Yeah, I'm up to 443 videos right now on the YouTube, and
there you
I got
go.
I got some that's not uploaded. That's in the background. That's not there yet. I know one is sitting in editing, and I know I got one that I haven't put out yet. So at least that many. There's probably I think several more. All right, Shadow. I have to move. Sorry, can't sit in one spot forever. But yeah. So yeah, it's amazing how far it don't. I just keep on. What was it saying? You're eat a elephant one bite at a time. So you just gotta keep on keeping on, and eventually everybody gets there. As long as you don't stop,
Oh yeah.
whatever your goals are.
Yep. Yeah. So but no, it's been amazing, and I wouldn't, I don't think I'd still be doing the show if I didn't have people listening in and uh, commenting on things and coming on when they can and all those things. So it's not just me that has made it this far. That's for sure.
Oh yeah, no doubt. It's a team effort. Like I said, the Trouble Minds family has been really great. I know the both of us.
Hmm.
The links in the description for that right there if you want to check it out. The people that we've met has made it. I don't think I'd be doing this or as far along as I am without um, with Mike and everybody. Because everybody's been real supportive, and there's so many people that after it got going, it's amazing the support worldwide we have, on both our shows. So
Hmm.
who would have thought?
Yeah.
Yeah, people look at you. Are you for real? Like, yeah, for real. There's, people around the world. Right? Not just being silly or joking. It's truly. Watch out, Shadow. Don't step on the keyboard. Yeah. Oh me. Um, but to get back on our ADD moment of the day. So while we're already there, make sure you like and subscribe, share. Since check out the links in the description for sure. Um, we're not over with. We're here at this moment right here. Like I said, I got some great guests coming up. We got one returning guest, hopefully, and then I got a brand new one that I just found out about. I didn't even know they were around um, until a friend told me about it, and I was like, huh. And then I was like, maybe reach out. You never know. He might want to come hang out for a second. So and they said, yeah, that'd be awesome. So I think it's gonna be fun. I dropped them the playlist of so they can kind of see the format and how we doing things, and which is all over the damn place and squirrel. But um, so make sure you do because we got some more great content, great stories. You know, I know James is doing the same thing. We're trying to get as many. We trying to get. I'm having fun trying to find some like paranormal, actually ghost hunters and stuff like that, actually going out and doing the investigations. Um, I want to bring more of them on the show for y'all can ask questions too and see what y'all think. All kinds of different segments of the world. We might get us a vampire expert on here next. I don't know. Well, you never know what's going to happen. Anything is possible.
True.
It truly is. Um, but yeah, James, we're gonna have to check out. I'm gonna have to. I've heard of I've heard of Raymond Moody, but I've never dove into some of his research and things like that. So I'm gonna have to take a dive into Raymond Moody and see some of the stuff because I know he's wrote books about a lot of this stuff and um, about the life after life was one of them and stuff like that.
Yeah,
And
I know he did all the research on near death experiences, so I was aware of that, even though I haven't looked into all his research. Um, but so I guess it makes sense that he would also have done this research into this shared death experience. It's because it is sort of adjacent or connected in different ways. So, but it's amazing that never came up because I had heard of him and I'd heard that he had done research into near death experiences, but not this shared death part of everything.
yep, as you go and learn, we're finding more stuff. Um,
Well, that's the thing because there's so many people in the world that have been looking into so many things related to everything that we talk about for years, decades, and that's just like I mean we're just talking about people in the last 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years. That's not counting people like Charles Fort and going back further than that. There's others that I'm blanking on the names of, you know, around that time, maybe a little bit after as well,
mhm.
that did whole books on this, research and all this, and so, and that's the thing. I don't know if any one of us could ever, even if we had access to it all, could ever absorb all the information from everything that people have done on this topic, because there's just too much.
Oh yeah, I mean we couldn't fit in a 2 hour show for sure. It's um,
No,
we had to have one of them Nights of the Storm 17-hour shows or something like that.
I always say I couldn't even fit all my experiences in one night.
Yeah,
That's just not happening.
yeah, for sure. Absolutely, it's then especially if you talk about it and bring it into and just discuss it for a second. I mean, that's a lot of time, and you know, um, I was looking at this on this one website was talking about it, the noetic.org. I'm getting this off of it. Um, it was talking about that we've talked about the four different common which I'll go over them again for the ones that came in later. The four common shared death experiences are remote sensing of death, witnessing unusual phenomena accompanying the dying, which we talked about the stories where they carry him up and drop him off at the gates of heaven, basically, and then assisting the dying in the transition. And said 51% of the cases were visions of the dying, and then 25% were actually seeing transcendent light in cases. So there was light in the room or something like that when it happened, and it's interesting. So basically, 24% is the everything else, but it means it still happens. It's just not as common.
Yeah.
What's going on.
And light is another thing. Light, I mean, obviously energy, but light specifically, and different levels of it, different brightness, different colors of it. Light is just so common and so much anomalous uh, experiences, phenomena. Um, it's just everywhere, it seems, when it comes to not just the passing of someone, of an individual, or an apparition of any kind of apparition, but just orbs, lines of light. I've heard of those too. People seeing those moving around their rooms or around rooms. Um, Orbs, but they have like spikes or tendrils coming
Yeah.
out of them.
Mm.
That's fascinating. And I mean, these lights are seen just everywhere, as I always say. And I always say this just because new listeners, and just to point out that this light is seen. Lights are seen everywhere, inside all kinds of buildings, outside buildings, near the ground, up in trees, up in the sky, out in space. Now, does that mean they're all different things? I tend to think so in a lot of cases, but they're still all light. Just the question is why or how is it happening in all these different places, and what intelligences are behind it when there is intelligence there.
Mm-hmm. Carl said Harry Price and Elliot O'Donnell is two more names.
Okay,
Said he has some good books going back to the 1920s. I likes of the two of them.
I've heard of Price. That was one of the people I was not. Um, I was blanking on the names of. Yeah, I heard of him. So yeah, that's just two more examples. And
Yeah.
there's just so many.
And Monique's telling a story. I'll let her finish the story, then I'll read it. Looks interesting for everybody to see. Um, also talks about on this article talking about they talk about there's a conductor is being sometimes perceived, seen, or sense. You know, may appear in different forms: an angel, deceased loved one, or absolute unknown figure. Which I know with some of the stories we talked about earlier, we had and other stories we've heard. We've heard loved ones coming back to help guide the especially a lot of times you see that either the husband or wife or like mother or something like that comes back and guides them to where they got to go.
Yep. And I know my grandma when she was after my grandpa passed away, she had some experiences where she felt his presence, around the house. Sometimes even laying in bed next to her,
Mm.
and of course she'd turn over and look, and there'd be nothing there, and it would be the presence would be gone. Um, but yeah, so it's I do wonder with that conductor experience too, because there are reports in more recent years of this weird experience some people have. I think it's a rare thing overall, but I've heard of a few accounts of it where this unknown figure. Some people equate that with aliens
Mm-hmm.
and aliens and apparitions of loved ones that passed. appearing at the same time. And I always wonder, I mean, is that the loved one or is that another being, another one of these other beings that's with that is appearing as the loved one, or getting even further out there, why would consciousness of people that have passed, what would they want to do or have to do with other beings that are appearing as aliens? And of course, I have no idea, but it's amazing how you can find connections between all these topics and all these um, types of experiences that they're not the most common things, but they're out there.
Hmm. Absolutely. Monique shared a story.
Hmm.
Said she was near St. Francis Hospital one night, which is in Memphis. A man she had never met before saw me on the sidewalk and said, "I've been waiting for you." He took her to the hospital to a woman's room. I had never met her before either. I've been working with copper making rune jewelry, and around that time, I decided she was in danger, so I put copper bracelets on her and told her to hide them from the hospital workers. Then the man took me downstairs, bought, bought her some food, and left, and never saw neither one of them again.
Hmm.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
She thinks it might have been an angel. It could have been, knowing that you could help. Um, I know I think I seen one when I was young come to me in my room. I was probably like 10. I still wish I knew I remember what was the words. I just remember the presence and me there and me not being as scared at all, which of course, being a little kid, a lot of times you ain't scared of much of anything, but I wasn't scared at all. I wish I
Yeah.
remember what he was talking about because how he get in there. Like I said, he just was there, and I was talking to him. I remember I can picture it in my mind right now. I can picture that room. It had wood paneling on the walls, and he was standing right there in front of the closet door, and there was how I don't know. A lot of my childhood is pieced together, and I don't remember it very well. I don't know why. I don't have very many childhood memories, other than like most of them are what other people's told me, kind of thing. I remember
Yeah.
memories of other memories. People tell me memories. I'm like, oh yeah, remember when we blah blah blah. I'm like, okay, yeah. But that one I remember. I remember, like I said, I can picture the dresser. I can picture him standing there by the window, and like there was a closet, and then there was the window on that wall. Like I said, and he was standing right there, and basically at the end of my bed. I got up and was standing in front of him, talking to him, and I don't remember what in the world was said. Maybe something I needed to hear right then. I don't know, and not
Yeah.
needed now, but I do remember it.
And that's so common with experiences people have. They know they talked with someone with something or whatever was there, and they remember parts of it, but not all of it, or they won't remember any of it except the fact that it happened, and they talk with them. Um, so yeah, that's not uncommon either. It's yeah, I don't know. It really is amazing because I don't have many memories of being a kid earlier or kid either. If I could, wow, words are hard. Um, I
It's your
guess I was just
turn.
thinking about yeah, yeah. We all take turns with that, I think. Uh, but I do have one memory, and I remember it, but it's also I don't remember what happened after it, but I know what happened after it, and that's because I found out from my parents years later. Apparently, when I was little, real little, I found this the cord from a phone, an old-fashioned phone, and of course I didn't know what it was. I didn't know what was on the table that it was connected to, so I started pulling at it, and just I can see in my mind, and I guess this could be a recreation too, but in my mind it feels like I remember seeing it. Just my fingers like pulling at this cord slowly, just coil by coil, and eventually the whole memory goes black, but I remember a big crash, hearing a big crash, and then that's it. But apparently, what happened was I pulled that phone down on top of my hand,
Hmm.
and it left it split my pinky finger. Like there's a line in the middle of that finger still. It's not a scar. It's like a little indent line where the finger like I guess split or whatever, um, and it's still there. And you know, I'm glad it happened so when I was so little that I don't remember the pain. But so it's like yeah, memories are weird that way because I have a partial memory of that whole thing, but luckily not the memory of the thing actually landing on me.
Hmm. Jason Parker said he has vivid memories of his childhood until the point I drank a glass of leaded gas. There's a bit of time lapse after that. I bet so. Get that lead in your system, and the gas, it ain't no help. Ooh,
Yeah, that's wow. Yep.
that was a long time ago. Even finding leaded gas is you had to been young. You had to be young over here drinking leaded gas over here.
Oh, that's what I wanted to
Ooh.
mention too. I forgot. Hospitals. Again, so many weird things happen in medical facilities.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the few times I've ever been to a hospital, the place always felt packed, even when it wasn't physically packed. Not just the hallways, but the rooms. The few times I went into rooms, they felt packed with people.
Hmm.
And I found a post from someone recently online that I used for one of my shows where they said they had this experience where they had some kind of a disease that was they were um, basically in the hospital and they were close to dying or gonna possibly close to dying, and they were being taken through these back hallways, like these hallways that were not for public use. They were only for transferring people quickly through the hospital. And they said they saw people uh, standing along the walls of this hallway, and they all looked just really sad, and they were all looking at this person as they were being pushed on a gurney or whatever. I forget what you call it exactly. But through this hallway, and it turns out they told a friend about this. After it happened, and their friend was surprised because they had been to that same hospital years earlier. Excuse me, and for different reasons, but had the same experience when going through those hallways in the same hospital of seeing just people standing along the walls. Now, if they're narrow hallways, how is that possible? Unless they were not physically there. So it's really fascinating. The whole, hospital and medical facility thing. It's just they seem to be just I don't know, extremely not necessarily always active locations because there's some that are, and I'm sure there's some that you just never hear about. But just filled with energy, coming and going, energy and consciousness, um, good, bad, and neutral all the way around, and it just never ends. I find every so often when I'm trying to find things to use for my shows. I mean, constantly I find posts about medical facilities.
My mom posted, she talked when she was on here, talked about, she wanted to go to that Bolivar um, insane asylum, basically. And I forget what the official name of it is, but that's what it was. And she posted a picture of it. And, uh, and she's like, yeah, it's probably haunted. I said, there ain't no probably about it, Mom. She's like, I want to go. I was like, you can go. Go ahead. Do what you want to do.
Yeah, and I can't judge because I still want to go to Waverly Hills Sanitarium someday. So
Yeah.
I have no room to judge.
Yeah, I just don't want to. I just don't want to collect anything.
I mean, I don't either, but I've seen so much and heard so much about that place, and outside of the reality shows,
Mm-hmm.
that I think there's stuff that goes on there. and so I'm just really curious about that.
Yeah, there's probably enough behind me already. I don't need any extra. There's enough
Ah,
behind my wall.
let's see. What could you be referring to? Oh wait, masks. All kinds of masks there. That's right.
I moved that one mask for Merlin. I make Merlin happy. I moved it on the other side. So, but he's not even here. Where's Merlin at? Doggone
Maybe
it.
he knows you did it, and you didn't have to stop by this time.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding, but who
Yeah.
knows?
Who knows? Yeah. I was sitting there, I was messing with it. I was like, I'm gonna move this over. I want to see if he. I want to see if he knows it or not. But but he's not here tonight. Oh well. He'll be back. He'll be back probably Wednesday or next Sunday. All good.
Yeah, he his discussion last Sunday about the alternate parallel universes, him being able to see into all those. I swear I get that sometimes. Like in my mind, I will get a thought that's like, or like a memory of someone that I know saying something that I know they didn't say.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, oh, I'm picking up on something from somewhere else. Okay, I'm gonna let that go. And sometimes, the thing I don't like is sometimes it's like I'll get a thought like saying, so and so that someone I know they passed away, and I'm like, wait, hold, no, just stop, just don't do that, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, I mean, I find out the person is fine here. So the thing I wonder about now is like, how often do we all pick up on things in other levels of, and this is completely veering off the topic here, but I know you're okay with that. Uh, but how often do we sense things or pick up things from these other levels of reality, whatever we want to call them, that do happen elsewhere but don't happen here?
I wonder that. I mean, I really do. The more I've been looking into it the last couple of years, I've been digging into that kind of subject myself, and I wonder that because I really have seems like you know maybe know who knows maybe these are more end times because the veil is so thin. Who knows on that part, um, but it does seem like we can. It recently is more and more you can see into like I said. I know I've had some super lucid dreams and just or like just thoughts like you said myself, and I wonder if we're tapping into um, like the multiverse, like with Marvel. We get the Marvel multiverse, and in each one, kind of and exactly like Merlin was talking about last week. Um, and each thing, it would blow my mind completely. Like even if for for sure what he was saying, which like
Yeah.
I said, anything's possible. I'm not denying it one bit. And if it was he was saying was true, like if just small, because I've thought about the big subjects, big things like you know, I've had several things happen in my life. I'm like, all right, this is a turning event. Like when I bought my house back in 19, that was a turning event in my life when um, when I started, my job back in '06 where I was at, when we came back from the Guam was like a turning point. I even think that like there was a time when I was a kid and I was supposed to go stay with my grandparents for the summer, and I kind of threw a fit and I was like it just didn't feel right, and so I
Mm.
didn't do it. And I even talked to my uncle about that. And I said, I wonder how things would be different, And he said, you're better off staying. Yeah, you didn't want to be out here, And he told me that, and um, I wonder if I'd been better off, or just like how would my personality be a little different because I got to you know spend the summer in Oklahoma, with my dad's parents and Uncle Robert and all them, or who knows, Um, but if like little things like that, them decisions, but even small ones, like you saying, like the mask, what side the mask is on the room, like little, even small decisions like that, spur off a different, you know, multiverse. Like, man, it'd be just infinite, you know,
Oh yeah.
every day. Like, oh, uh, you know, you pick a fight. But one day I pick a fight with my loved one, and and I didn't, one side I didn't, so that spurred off two different things, kind of thing. But I think it's, I do kind of more and more lean towards a, absolute like a multiverse type thing situation. Maybe that's why the Mandela effect, we can see um, so much stuff that we know deep down our soul we've seen it.
Hmm.
Um, there's a reason for it, or just like, not to get political, but or the government just effing with us. One side or the other.
Or is that why some prophecies or predictions, you know, that were made throughout time, take your pick, I'm not even, doesn't matter which one,
Mm-hmm.
that didn't happen? Well, maybe the person had it wrong about where it was going to happen. Maybe it didn't happen here. Maybe it happened in some other version of here. And they were just picking up on that and they thought it was going to be here because they had no idea yet or thought yet about there being multiple versions of here. Again, take your pick what you want to call it. Doesn't matter to me. Point is still different versions of this reality that we know of here. And it did happen elsewhere. Because I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you hear that so often about these predictions about things, and and about world events even in some cases, and it seems like they never really happened the way they were supposed to. Um, and again, not to say that some things, prophecies or predictions haven't happened or couldn't happen, but just when they don't, what does that mean? Does that just mean that happened elsewhere?
Very good. Very could be. If you're looking on that kind of thing, maybe somebody is tapping into another dimension or another phase of reality or whatever, and that's that those predictions, like Nostradamus or something like that. Um, those come true for sure on those sides. Or um, again, anything's possible. Absolutely. Monique said there's. I'm not sure what that word's for. I don't know. Maybe it's but making spiritual gifted people think they're evil and damaged. So most mental illness is just unmanaged gifts. You know, well, we know that for sure that they did back in the day. For especially in the psych wards and stuff like that, people that had gifts and seen things or whatever, they were tortured and worse. Especially in older times. If you just had a free spirit, person, they would you know
Oh
kill
yeah,
you or torture you or something.
yeah. I mean, now they just ridicule you. In most cases, unless
Mm.
you do something serious. But like, it's still there. It's just it's sort of a social thing. It's a ridicule, kind of a isolating, sort of like you're talking about these weird things, so I'm not going to have anything to do with you anymore. That
Mm-hmm.
kind of a thing.
Yeah, social
Um,
alienation and stuff.
yes, I think that's very much a thing, and I think when a mind is in a different states of mind, I think can produce or can allow access or communication between different levels of reality and possibly consciousness, different consciousnesses, whether they have physical form or not. I think all those things can be connected.
Yeah, that's why I think it's important for having like places like a lot of our friends and like Trouble Minds and Nights of the Storm and for your show and mine and so many others that have a place to for people to go and talk about some of these things that's not you know, if they tried to bring up to, friends or, so-called friends or whatever in normal society, I guess you'd say, they, like I said, they would ridicule them or make them look, oh, they're going to call them names or whatever and make them just kind of shell up and get quiet and not say anything about anything and don't question. And I think we need more of these places where people can, let's ask the big questions. Let's ask where we can actually, you know, hey, there's, absolutely, there's a lot of things in this world that at the end of the day, I don't think, we're truly going to get the answer to until we get across the other side, especially for the paranormal and things like that. We will not truly know the absolute answer until we make that crossing. Um, so there's so many questions and stuff like that, but that don't mean well, you don't need to ask them, no, we need to ask questions. We need to ask, people and have people comfortable, be able to be open and say, hey, look, this is going on, this and this is going on, or I have this ability to be able to do this, help, and it'll be able to help people, and maybe even protect some of those people that have these special gifts that they don't realize that they do, or they do and they just don't know what to do with them. They just they're in the hands, um, and they don't know which way to go. And maybe having places like Troubled Minds, they can Mike Strange and others can point them in the right direction or put them together with people, and that they can possibly understand what's going on in the world and in their mind.
Yeah. Yep. Definitely. It's part of I think why a lot of us do what we do with these kinds of shows and all that is is that whole ridicule, that whole alienation, that whole idea that any kind of thing that is different, whether it's an ability that we might have or thoughts of these things at all, any kind of looking into this or thinking of this or being able to have experiences with any of this, it's all negative, and then whatever we're encountering is all negative. That's a huge. I have a huge problem with that.
Mm-hmm.
Just based on personal experience and on all the experiences I found and collected online and people I've talked to, um, you know, Hollywood would have us think it's all negative, but that's Hollywood. That's mainstream media, and it's not all that way. Not by far.
No. I mean, not everything that's paranormal and like the stories that you talk, and read and everything. Like, there's a lot of good, positive stuff and things that happen with the supernatural and paranormal. Like, there's evil stuff, and there is evil. Not
Hmm.
denying that whatsoever. There's some. Well, I think there's demons. Yeah. Do I think everything that people call demons are demons? No.
Right.
And speaking of that, on Trouble Minds tonight, the title of the show is Disclosure's Demon Problem: The Spiritual War Behind UFO Secrecy.
Yeah, I'm gonna be there for that. Looking
So
forward to
yeah,
that.
because I seen JD Vance say something about with that the demons were aliens or whatever, and it's like uh, it's one of them things. I don't know. You know, everybody wants to put stuff in a box or put them in this one
Hmm.
little bucket or whatever. Like, oh, you just this is a demon, and truly, demonize this stuff. And even though a lot of it is not, is absolute not. You know, I don't think every type of situation that happens, is demons. There's for sure, we know there's good spirits. We know there's good. Um, I think I think there's angels. I've lived through so many things. There's something watching out for me. I guarantee that. Um,
Yeah.
I've bounced off too many trees and too many near misses from the time I was born that um, which like I talked about last week with, you know, the hospital and strep and stuff. You know, a lot of 11 babies, two survived, and y'all listening to one of them. You know,
Right.
so there's something there that's protecting me. You know, and God is protecting me. I do believe that, me personally, and you know, so there's positive and there's negative, and I do believe in the harmony and balance, absolute, you know, of things. I love yin yangs because you know there's always there's a little bit of, you know, even in you know, a lot of even bad people, there's always that little bit of good that, you know, there's the hope. I think that's that hope you can pull out, and even in the really good people, there's, you know, they're they're not as clean, I guess you'd say, as they make it out to be. They're not perfect. Nobody's perfect
Oh
whatsoever.
yeah. I always, in my mind, I always like to think that, I don't really, I don't like to, and I especially try not to hate anyone. And 99% that's mostly true. The
Hmm.
only exceptions are people that have all the kinds of money and all the power and just want more of both. Um, I have to try not to hate those people, and it's hard, you know. And it's something I'll probably always struggle with because it's just they're not they haven't changed yet. Hopefully they do. Um,
Yeah, I agree.
but
They got the power to do it. You know, they really
yeah,
do. They had the power to do a lot of things that we could make a difference in a lot of people's lives. But um, you know, it's easier to lean towards greed and want. Um, on the other side of the coin, you know, there's a lot of people. You couldn't. There's a lot of people you couldn't give handouts to. I don't think, because you know they're take advantage, or
yeah,
it's kind of like them. You see those. Not to get into all that, but you know, it's like them people you see, you know, like them homeless people, and they put them in these apartments and they wreck them. They got these little apartments, and they put these homeless people in there, and like, oh, we want a real house, and blah blah blah, and then you see the apartment, and it's absolutely like destroyed, and like, well, you have no pride in what you got, you know, why, kind of thing. It's, you know, some people need hardship to be a better person and come out the other end as better. Um, do I think on the other side of the coin? I said, do I think they should be doing more and stop absolutely robbing people? I absolutely do. You know, I believe in balance. Um, I don't think they should be, but that's for another show.
it is. I think that is. But
Sure,
but
you
yeah,
brought that one, James. You
I all this talk about plans and not plans and good and bad. It always yeah, it brings to mind the real world stuff.
it does, it does. We could
But
talk
it's
about
all
that on
connected.
Wednesday nights, but
Yeah, it's true.
we're getting closer and closer. It won't be long now. James, go ahead and do your plugs and shout outs and everything. We're gonna get closer to the end here. We will be raiding Trouble Minds, as I said. I got the link already pulled up, sitting in there waiting to go. So Rumble will be teleporting you to Trouble Minds in just a little bit. If you're on YouTube, um, I will get the link, and I will get the link for you so y'all can teleport. You'll have to teleport yourself. I won't be able
Yeah,
to teleport you on YouTube, but yeah, go ahead, James, and
yeah. No, just thanks for having me as always. And yeah, if anyone doesn't know who I am, and if you for some reason want to hear more of me talking, Salcedo Paranormal is the podcast. SalcedoParanormal.com is where you can find everything. That's SALSIDO Paranormal.com. And you can find all the episodes there and all kinds of links to everything else I do. And yeah, it's going to be, I'll be, like I said, in less than a week from now, I'll be putting out episode 1000. So you have a lot of material to listen to in your free time and go from there. And yeah, just glad to be here. Thank you again, Ricky, and I'm glad I was able to make it in time. Looking forward to future shows with guests. So thank you,
Absolutely.
and everyone take care.
Absolutely, yeah. It's gonna be fun. Like I said, make sure you like and subscribe. I got some great guests are coming up. Um, I got a great guest, very open mind and knowledgeable on many things. Possibly next week. I got to verify and everything, make sure everything's on the good on that. Be here Wednesday, and I'll verify. You'll hear the verification, and then probably the 19th is where we're shooting for. I got a group of ghost hunters, and from a local group going to come on. We'll see how it goes, and if I know something, I'll let y'all know Wednesday also on that. If not, next Sunday for sure. Give y'all a heads up, and it'll be interesting there. Like I said, they've got lots of content, lots of videos. Uh, well, I'll give y'all, because I mean, I'd like to see y'all go check them out anyway. Let's see. The Memphis Seekers of Paranormal is their Facebook, and they got a YouTube channel and all that kind of stuff. So should be fun. They're supposed to come on hopefully soon. Like I said, looking at shooting for the 19th, and going to be fun. As always, I appreciate y'all being here. Couldn't do it without y'all. Really. Not I'd just be talking to myself. you know. So I did the first for that's what I did at first. On Spotify, I was just talking to myself, but then we went live and hadn't looked back since. So appreciate y'all being here as always, and y'all keep on sharing, keep bringing people, bring a friend next week, and come back with questions. You got some interesting questions. They'll be fun, and I guess I'll hit this outro, and Fred makes it right here at the end, or he probably been lurking again. What's up, Fred? Appreciate you being here and listening. So we'll hit this outro. I need to make an outro specific for here, but everybody loves the song, and then I'm gonna teleport Rumble over there to Trouble Minds. The link is in YouTube for Trouble Minds right there, so y'all can follow along. Y'all had to do is click that link and shoot y'all right over there. So here we go. See if this works today. I'll get out of my way, Discord.
Shackles, don't want no shackles on me. Don't want no shackles, don't want no shackles on me. I sat down with Big Brother, don't like those RFIDs. Got the blues about my freedom. Got the blues about tyranny. I got the blues about my freedom. Got the blues about tyranny. I sat down with Big Brother and the national ID. Don't want a chip in my wallet, chip in my car. And if I want to travel, it's nobody's business how far. Don't want no shackles. Don't want no shackles on me. I said shame on Big Brother, always tracking and tracing me. Don't want a chip in my mother, chip in my wife, a chip in my babies. Stay out of our life, don't want no shackles, don't want no shackles on me. I say down with Big Brother, no more slavery. Play it for me, baby. Now, do you want a chip in your forehead, a chip in your arm, always tweaking your brain and causing you harm? Don't want no shackles, don't want no shackles on me. I sit down with Big Brother in the good old USA. I sat down with Big Brother, down with Big Brother, down with Big Brother, down with Big Brother, down with Big Brother. Don't want a spy chip in me. Everybody, I sat down with Big Brother, down with Big Brother, down with Big Brother, down with Big Brother, down with Big Brother. It's all about liberty.